Place looks really nice after that big cleanup a couple days ago. Today, I'm going to go over to the machine shed and gather up all the Oneida Cyclone stuff. There's some in the back as well. And I'm going to bring it over here, set it on the floor, and get measurements of everything and figure out how that's going to be attached to the wall here. Here is the motor unit, and we have various duct work here. I believe the bracket's in there somewhere. Oh, there's the bracket right there. And I have the hardware attached to it. The cone and the intake are right there. Okay, yeah, this is going to take a little bit of work. Let's get that stuff pulled off of there. And I believe it's just piping and stuff that's out back, outside. We have ductwork right here. There's the filter. And I believe we have duct in these boxes over here. I'm not really sure. I'm going to have to open those up. I'll tell you the story of why this got mothballed right away like that as we get this set up over in the wood shop. But for now, I need to go find a ladder and get those down. This right here goes on the bottom of the cone there. And with all of this stuff assembled where I first had this set up, the motor was up in the joist. This was in a basement shop with a 7-foot ceiling. So the motor was up into the joist about yay far. And this is all the room I had before, what was it, a 35-gallon fiber bucket or fiber barrel at the bottom. It was really tight. And you can see this is what I had to do coming right off the unit there. And I'm not exactly sure why. This went to my miter saw setup, which I still have. I'm not going to haul that out today, but I'll show you that at some point. I don't think I'm going to be able to use this again. So whatever I can't use on this system, well, in its current configuration like this, I'm going to try to peel all this stuff apart and get the separate components out of it. Okay. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is get all the dimensions of this stuff, and I'm going to make a quick 3D model, and I'm also going to get the layout of this wall, exactly where the girts are and stuff, so I can figure out where to put my brackets and what kind of beef ups I need to do inside the wall to support this thing. It's incredibly heavy, so I want real good support in the wall so that I don't have any problems with this. Yeah, I think I just need to do a little bit of cleanup, and I think it should be just fine. I haven't had this thing running in 22 years. I believe I got this in '02. This motor was made in '02. I could have gotten it in '03, but right around the time I got this, my daughter was born, and I was doing the whole watching the baby stuff, and I was running my wood shop out of the basement. So I would have my daughter hooked up to her bouncy thing, hooked up to the ceiling, and she would be bouncing while she was watching me carve and stuff like that. It was real cool. Good times. So this is about how this is going to be. I just have to figure out how far away from the wall. I have to run electric to this and all that stuff as well. So yeah, I'll do the entire dust collection in 3D. I don't know if I'm going to model the machines or not, but I'm going to have to do kind of a representation of them because I need their height and everything, and then I'll have the duct going up. So I'll probably have the main trunk going all the way across. I don't know how much suction I'm going to get on the other side. I'll drop it down, and if there's enough suction, I can have it curve off this way and curve off that way and get machines on that back wall, and I can run branches to anything else. Yeah, this is only 2 horsepower, which is actually pretty darn good for a dust collection system if you have nice straight runs of pipe and stuff. So I have to be real careful in designing this. And also I have to figure out, this is going to be turned this way, so it's going to be, the outlet is going to be facing this way. And I want to figure out how I'm going to make a plenum for that. Yeah, this is going to come right into a box, and I believe I'll have 2 sets of filters, kind of like this, but this compressor is going to go right here. So the plenum will be up there. I might be able to have, I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. Yeah, there's enough room here. Compressor here. One of the filters could probably be 2 filters stacked, and then the second one may have to only be 1 based on where it comes to at the top of this. Yeah, probably be right in here somewhere. Yeah, this is going to be real interesting. I need to get this stuff figured out right away, because if I have to build anything into the wall, I don't want that to be an afterthought. I want to do it before I put the skin on the wall. So let me get some dimensions on this stuff, and we're going to have to go get the rest of this stuff so I can figure out how much duct work I have. I have various elbows and sections of straight pipe, and those are all over the place as well. Some of it is actually outside. So let's go get that as well, and then we'll take inventory of what we have and get the measurements, and I'll get to work modeling this in 3D. We had a bunch of stuff stored in this container, and that all had to come out when we used this as a haymow for the horses. And we had a whole bunch of stuff stored in this little barn shed here. And then I turned that into a tiny house. And we had a bunch of stuff stored in this Shelter Logic shelter and another one. And both of those have blown down. So that's why it's such a mess in the machine shed here. All right. Here it is. I didn't think that it was like this with all of the ducts back here, but it looks to be in pretty good shape. This is going to take me a little bit. Oh, there's the barrel lid. There's 2 of them there. Wow, they're pretty rusty. Those are for fiber barrels. I wonder if those will work on a 55-gallon drum. If not, I'll just get a flange and put it on a drum lid. Okay, let's get this stuff over there as well. Well, that was quite the chore. Where this stuff was stored was in back of that building over there, and it's a muddy mess out there, but I got it all over, and now I'm going to have to pull all this stuff apart and see how many pieces of each size I have. We have 7-inch, 6-inch, and 5-inch, but I believe, yeah, this is 4-inch right here. So I'm going to have to catalog all of this stuff, and it looks like that lid fits these plastic barrels, and we have a few of them around, so that's good. I'll just clean this up and use a plastic barrel for the big barrel at the bottom. And then we have these dust collector parts. This is pretty nasty. There may be some mouse stuff down in there. I see a blast gate. Blast gates are expensive. Got a lot of spider webs in there. All right, beautiful. And these are not hardware store elbows. These are regulation dust collection elbows. All right, I'm gonna pull everything. Geez, got a spider hanging from my thumb. I'm gonna pull everything out of these boxes, separate all this stuff, and I'll show you what I have. I'll make an inventory of it, and then we'll get to measuring that stuff. I don't think I finished that story, but I was not finished setting everything up. I built a few things, but I didn't have this whole thing set up. That's why there's still bits and pieces all over the place. We had a change of location. We moved a couple 100 miles north. I got a job as a cabinet maker at a shipyard that made custom yachts. and I was making real good money and got promoted to the head of 3D design, and I had zero time. It was an office job, and basically all I did was work. So this stayed in mothballs there, and then the economy tanked in, what was that, 07 or 08? You should remember that if you're old enough. And we moved here and I built our house, and everything remained in mothballs because I didn't have a place to put this stuff. We only had the one building. Then we bought the place across the street, the machine shed where this stuff was stored, and I was setting up a shop over there. And then one thing led to another, and we decided to build this building here. So I built this building. There's a bunch of videos about that. I built it mostly by myself, a little bit of help from others. I think that's an old school detector, bin detector. I did not remember having that. Wow, there's some nice stuff in here. Look at all these gates. Oh, I see. This, I believe, yeah, this goes on here, and this spins around in your dust bin. The newer ones are like lasers, but this would spin around, and as soon as this gets some resistance, it'll set off the alarm. I'll have to get a wiring diagram for that. We got 6 wires here. Well, that's cool. Woohoo! Okay, inventory of this, except for the straight pieces. I believe I got it all. I got a bunch of Ys, 665, 655, 776, 555, 765, and 655. Every one of the Ys is different. I have 8 5-inch elbows, 3 6-inch elbows, 2 5 to 4-inch adapters, these here, 4 5-inch to hose, which is, I believe that's what these are, 1 6-inch to hose, and I have 2 rings, and I think this is hose to hose. I can't remember. This might be to the quick connect, hose to quick connect. I'll have to investigate on that stuff. And then we have 4 5-inch blast gates, 1 6-inch blast gate, 1 6-inch flange to crimp, this right here, 1 5-inch floor sweep, which is pretty nice, and 1 5-inch round to 2.5 by 10-inch rectangle, and that is this here. This used to be connected to my miter saw. Now for the pipe. This is going to be a little more difficult. These were all sitting outside, and we do have brown recluse spiders around here, and I don't want to make one of those angry. I'm going to have to pull these all apart and figure out what I have, and then try to get them stacked up again like this. Yeah, they're really dirty. I'll clean these off with the hose at some point, but it's still winter right now, so that'll be a little bit later. Okay, I got all these tallied up. I found something interesting too. I'll show you when I'm done here. These are all 5-foot lengths. We have 1 4-inch, 5 5-inch, 8 6-inch, and 3 7-inch, and then all of these shorter pieces here, including 3 24-inch. Not sure why there's exactly 3 24-inch, but there is. And one of these 7-inch, you could see my dashed line, and I had cut it part way on either side. I was right in the middle of putting up duct work when we had to pack up and move. Unreal. Okay, now, yeah, it's going to be really hard to find a place for all this stuff and keep moving it around. I'm going to have to try to get this stuff all back together. I probably should rinse it off real quick as well, because it is filthy, and as it dries out, it's going to drop all kinds of garbage all over the place. But we're going to have to do that later. Right now, I'm going to get dimensions from all this stuff, and we'll model this up in 3D as well as this chunk of the wall, and I'll show you that, and we'll get this video wrapped up. I got to get to making this wall really soon, so I got to get this over with. Okay, it's the next day. I got all of this stuff hosed down and wiped down. Everything's nice and clean. And I spent, what was it? About 6 hours on the computer last night. So I 3D modeled this stuff last night. I need to know exactly where on the wall from the door opening it's going to be mounted and how high I need to put internal bracing in this wall when I start on this wall tomorrow. And I have that figured out, and I'll show it to you right now. Okay, here is the 3D model. This is from the model I used to build the building. We'll get into this some other day. This is all in wireframe, and we have the machinery shown right here. I'll be using this to run the duct work real soon, and this is what I have for the walls here. But basically, the first sheet of plywood goes right under the dust collector there, and then we have full sheets going over to here, and then a partial sheet over here, and then up top they get trimmed a bit and they go on their sides. So this is what I really needed to know. How tall? These are 2x4s attached to the face of the plywood. Where these are and how tall they are, as well as on the back. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that or not. There's some bracing in the back there as well. And then these will have spacks going into each one of these girts back here. girt here, girt here, girt here, and one there. It'll have a spax going into each one of the girts. That should hold this up plenty well for the long term. And then I'm going to design the plenum. The plenum's going to be held on brackets right over here, and it will probably have a double filter close to the Cyclone and a single filter here right above the air compressor, which is going to be right here. And you can see the 3 posts right here. They're kind of hidden out there. You can actually see this one, but these 2 are buried. Okay, we'll head back out there and wrap this video up. So there you have it. My ancient Oneida dust collection system is out of mothballs. I really got to clean this up. Look at how dirty this is. But it should still work just fine. I only used it for part of a year, I believe, and the rest of the time it's been in storage. So now that we got that done, I'm going to get going on this wall. First thing I'm going to do is run an electric line over for that light. This one's already done, and once we get the wall in, I'm going to run conduit over to a box right here, and these lines will come into the back of the box. Good, good, good. Yeah, the backers that you saw are going to go right here and right here. They're going to go on the face of the wall, and that unit's going to get mounted right there. That'll be so nice to have this up and out of the way. In its original configuration, like I said, the top of it was like right here. So the main trunk was in at about that height. It really sucked. I actually went up with the main trunk, but with a 7-foot ceiling and a 7-inch line below that, that's already to the point where I had to duck down to get under it. I'm 6'4", and that was in the way already. And this, it'll be just up and out of the way. Good, good, good.